You know the scene, right? You've actually planned your day around the swim workout. You're feeling good, energized. You walk onto the pool deck, ready to just crush it.
Yeah, you're all set.
Exactly. And you get to the lane, the one clearly marked fast swimmers. And, well, what do you find? It's just chaos.
Uh-huh. The usual suspects?
Totally. People standing around chatting about, I don't know, last night's game. There's maybe a head-up breaststroker just meandering down the middle. Someone else basically using the wall like it's their personal armchair.
Oh, yeah. Been there. Many times.
And that immediate feeling, that gut reaction is probably, okay, workout ruined. That sense of frustration, maybe even anger at the bad etiquette.
Yeah.
That's the energy we're tapping into today.
And look, that anger, it's completely understandable. I mean, for anyone who takes swimming seriously, the pool feels like this shared kind of regulated space.
Right. There are rules.
Exactly. And when those rules, those expectations just break down, our first instinct is often, I got to enforce this, or where's the lifeguard?
Yeah, fix the problem.
But our deep dive today, looking at these sources, it offers a way more effective strategy. Maybe even a bit radical, actually.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's basically stop fighting human nature. Just accept that, well, people are going to be people. Some are ignorant, some just don't know any better, some are maybe just oblivious.
So that's the mission here then. Instead of relying on the lifeguard or getting tangled up in some awkward etiquette showdown.
Which never really works anyway.
Right. We shift the internal story. We stop seeing that crowded lane as, this barrier, this problem, and we start viewing it as a dedicated training zone, your own personal aquatic playground.
And what that really is, when you boil it down, it's a cognitive strategy, a pretty high level one, actually. Managing your expectations, that's step one.
Accepting the chaos.
Accepting the chaos, yeah. And by embracing these constraints, these things that seem negative, you actually force your body and your mind into a higher level of skill development, the kind you just don't get in a perfectly clear lane. So we promise you, you can have an effective session, an anger-free session. And here's the kicker. You will absolutely get better. Your technique will improve.
All right, let's unpack this then, starting with segment 1. Using that forced slowdown, that congestion, to really perfect your core swimming mechanics. Because like you said, a crowded lane isn't really about speed, is it?
Not at all. It's perfect for technique.
Yeah.
Which brings us to tip 1, and it's pretty straightforward. Slow swimming.
Okay.
That crowded lane, it almost gives you psychological permission to slow way down, sometimes really drastically slow. And when you swim slow like this, the goal isn't just recovery. The goal is relaxation.
Relaxation? How so?
You need to focus only on engaging the muscles that are absolutely essential for moving forward. Think about where you hold tension. Are your shoulders creeping up towards your ears? Are your hands gripping the water? You want to release all that.
That's fascinating because, intuitively, we think we learn by going fast, push harder, swim faster. But the sources are saying you actually learn more by swimming slow.
Way more sometimes. And here's a really key diagnostic tool, something that tells you if you're doing it right or wrong when you swim slow.
Okay.
If you slow right down and your legs immediately start to sink, you're not doing it right.
Ah, okay. So sinking legs are the sign of a problem.
Precisely. If those legs sink, it usually means you're relying way too much on momentum or just kicking constantly like mad to keep them up. That's what we'd call high-effort, low-efficiency swimming.
Gotcha. So how do you fix that, in the moment during that slow swim?
You've got to really focus on engaging your core. And there's a slight forward press with the chest, keeping your head neutral, looking down mostly. That core tension, that's what keeps your hips high without needing this huge compensatory kick.
Okay, core engagement, chest press. Makes sense. All right, so moving from that general idea of slowing down, let's get into specific drills. Our source is called Tip 2, a one-arm drill. It's the king of kings for technique. That's quite a title.
It is, but it's kind of earned it. Because this drill, it isolates the entire body movement, what coaches call the full kinetic chain. Maybe better than any other drill out there.
How does it do that?
Well, when you only have one arm actually pulling you forward, you're forced, absolutely forced, to maximize every single part of that propulsion. Your body roll has to be powerful, deliberate. Your catch right at the front has to be secure. Your breathing needs perfect timing to keep your balance. There's just no cheating it.
Okay, but that sounds really hard, especially if the lane's busy and you're trying to, look out for people. What's the biggest mistake people make here?
Oh, the biggest trap is definitely galloping.
Galloping?
Yeah, it's when you really favor one side, usually the side that's doing the stroking, right?
Yeah.
and you neglect the rotation on the recovery side. Your whole body rhythm gets lopsided, kind of jerky.
Right, I can picture that.
So to avoid it, you have to consciously think about maintaining equal, powerful rotation to both sides. That stationary arm, the one out front, it needs to lead the non-stroking shoulder forward, ensuring you get full extension and maintain your balance.
Okay, equal rotation, lead with the stationary arm. Got it. So we've gone from the big picture, slow swimming, tip 1, to isolating the whole body chain with tip 2. Now let's narrow the focus right down to just feeling the water by actually taking power away. Let's talk tip 5, fists and finger drills.
Right, this is basically the anti-paddle workout. By swimming with a closed fist, or maybe just using, say, your first 2 fingers.
They're just 2 fingers.
Yeah, or even just the index finger sometimes. You drastically reduce the surface area of your hand.
Yeah.
And this forces the real hydrodynamic surface, which is your forearm, to become the main source of propulsion.
Ah, okay. So the focus shifts completely to that forearm catch, or the early vertical forearm, EVF, that coaches talk about.
Absolutely. And the benefit is kind of twofold. First, it obviously forces that forearm engagement. If you're sloppy, if you just bend at the elbow, you'll just spin your arms and barely move.
You'll know pretty quickly if it's not working.
Exactly. And second, because you're catching less water, the load on your arm is lighter. This lets you focus on increasing your stroke cadence, your tempo, which is vital if you want to swim faster later on.
And the sources add this great little detail, almost philosophical. Keep those fists relaxed. You're not trying to punch the water.
No, not at all. You should be thinking about like caressing the water's contour, feeling its texture, its resistance. That's why alternatives, like using anti-paddles, which are curved the wrong way, or even just holding a tennis ball lightly in each hand, are also fantastic.
Right, they achieve the same thing, less hand surface, but maybe remind you to keep those fingers soft.
Precisely. Feeling the water, not fighting it.
Okay, now we shift gears a bit into segment 2. This is where we really stop seeing the other swimmers as just annoying obstacles.
Yeah, the frustration points. Exactly. And we start treating them as like interactive elements in our training. This is where that crowded lane really starts becoming the playground you mentioned earlier.
Okay, I like the sound of this. And it sounds like we get a bit mischievous here. Tip 3 is dive under.
That's right. So instead of just getting frustrated and maybe tensing up behind that slow person ahead.
The one doing head-up breaststroke.
Yeah, that one. You use them as a launch pad for a very specific drill.
How?
As you approach them, you treat them like a temporary submerged obstacle. You take a breath, dive smoothly underneath them, immediately get into a super tight streamline.
Body position is key here, I guess.
Critical. Tight streamline. And then you perform a powerful underwater dolphin kick sprint until you're safely past them on the other side.
Wow. Okay, so that's hitting a lot of things at once.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great for breath control, obviously. Excellent for working on your lactic threshold, and fantastic for developing power in your core and legs, which, as the sources rightly point out, is really the bread and butter of swimming fast.
I love that idea. Turning that moment of pure annoyance into a focused anaerobic sprint. That's brilliant. And I guess if you need a bit of help with the kicking power initially.
Yeah, grab a small pair of fins to start. That can help you get the hang of the underwater propulsion.
Yeah.
But honestly, the fun factor here is huge too. The sources even suggest, maybe giving the swimmer a little wave or pulling a funny face as you glide underneath them.
Uh-huh.
Seriously, why not? It instantly changes your whole mindset, right? From being annoyed to being kind of playfully focused. It's a great mental trick.
It really is. Okay, what a great psychological release, too. Now, speaking of, let's say, unique maneuvers, let's talk tip 4.
Backwards swimming?
Ah, yes, backwards
I
swim.
gotta push back a bit here. Swimming backwards in a crowded lane, that sounds, well, frankly, a bit dangerous. How do the sources justify this one, especially thinking about safety?
That's a totally fair question. And safety is paramount, obviously. The justification really lies in its utility and, surprisingly, how it fits the environment.
How does it fit? Well, because swimming backward is inherently slow. Right. And it requires tremendous focus on body control and awareness. So you're actually moving at the speed of the slowest people in the lane. You're minimizing potential collisions because you kind of just fit right in with the pace.
Okay. I see the logic there, but still, how do you see where you're going?
You have to use other cues. You use the backstroke flags overhead, maybe lane markings on the bottom if you can see them, or perhaps initially you hug the lane rope quite closely until you get comfortable. It definitely requires concentration.
Okay. And what's the actual training benefit besides, not having to pass anyone?
Oh, the payoff is phenomenal for versatility and proprioception. That's your body's awareness of where it is in space.
Hmm.
It forces you to get much better control over your hip and shoulder alignment. It teaches you how to maintain that horizontal balance even when your arms are recovering in really unusual ways. It just builds a much stronger connection between your core and your limbs.
Okay, I'm slightly less skeptical now. It sounds challenging, but potentially very rewarding. All right, let's move to tip 6, sculling. The sources say this is absolutely key for mastering water perception, or feel for the water, which we know is essential for swimming fast.
If you're not incorporating sculling into your routine, you are seriously missing out on developing that feel. Sculling is essentially, it's that small figure eight-like motion your hand makes.
Like you're treading water with just your hands.
Sort of, but it's more controlled and directed. The goal is to find support, to find pressure in the water. And critically, this is important, it is not a breaststroke pull. It's much smaller, much more subtle. We should probably dig into the mechanics a bit here for the listener.
Yeah, please do. What exactly should they be aiming for with their hands? What angle or movement?
The absolute key concept is hand pitch. As your hand moves side to side in that figure eight, it needs to be angled slightly so the palm is always facing somewhat backward. You're creating an angle of attack, just like an airplane wing, that generates lift and propulsion, not just sideways drag.
So you're looking for immediate pressure.
Yes, immediate pressure right in the palm and along the forearm. That feeling of instant support, that's the golden ticket. That's what translates directly into a better, stronger catch when you go back to swimming your full stroke.
Okay. And the sources mention some good variations for practice.
Yeah, loads. You can do it with your arms extended straight out in front. You can do it with arms by your sides, sculling back near your hips. Or a really common one is the scarecrow position, where your elbows are high and your forearms hang down, doing that kind of windshield wiper motion.
Right, I know that one.
And a great tip, if you find you're kicking too much, trying to compensate, just stick a pull buoy between your legs. That resistance forces you to rely only on those subtle pressure changes from your hands and forearms. It really isolates the skill. It's all about finesse, not brute force.
Okay, segment 3 now. We're moving from those finesse drills towards actually simulating performance conditions, using the crowd, the congestion to practice race day stuff and keep the intensity up despite everything.
Exactly. And this brings us right to tip 7, which is the flags to flags swim. Now, this one is specifically designed to bypass probably the biggest source of congestion in any lane.
Let me guess. The people standing at the wall having a good old chat.
You got it.
Hmm.
The world's best debaters hugging the pool wall, as one source put it. So you skip the wall entirely.
Okay, skip the wall. But how do you turn effectively then? There's no wall to push off from, no leverage.
Right, that's the point of the drill. The technique is you swim towards the backstroke flags, you execute a fast, tight tuck flip turn before the wall, and then you immediately push off. But that push-off comes entirely from your own momentum and the rotation of the turn itself.
Wow. So no help from the wall at all.
None.
Yeah.
Since you don't get that powerful rebound off the concrete, you are forced into this rapid, completely unassisted breakout. You have to immediately engage powerful dolphin kicks and get your arm stroke going to accelerate back up to speed. It's actually brutal work for maintaining momentum and flow without the wall's help.
That sounds tough. Really tough. What if someone finds they're still going a bit too fast, even with that maneuver, and catching people mid-lane?
There's a clever variation for that. Do a 360 somersault right in the middle of the pool.
Just a flip in the middle.
Yeah, but again, it's not just about slowing down randomly. It's a specific drill. Focuses on spatial awareness, streamline recovery. You do a small, tight tuck, trying not to use your hands, and the goal is to decelerate as little as possible while holding a perfect streamline through the flip, then immediately restart your stroke.
So it tests body control during sudden changes.
Exactly. Better than almost anything else. It's surprisingly hard to do well without losing all your speed.
Okay, interesting. Next up, tip 8, which sounds incredibly practical, especially for some listeners. It turns the crowded lane into a dedicated open water training session.
This one is gold for triathletes and open water swimmers.
Yeah.
You basically use the chaos to your advantage. Simulate those mass starts, navigating around tight buoy turns, swimming in a pack.
How specifically?
Well, you practice drafting really close behind someone else. You work on your sighting, but instead of looking for buoys, you're constantly sighting for the people ahead or coming towards you. And you practice making quick, decisive passes whenever a small gap opens up, just like in a race.
And the sources make a point here that's, well, maybe a bit provocative. They suggest you shouldn't actually be afraid of touching or bumping into other people.
That's right. Because let's face it, in open water, contact is pretty much inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely happens.
So you need to get used to it. Overcome that natural flinch or fight or flight reaction when someone bumps you. By practicing minor accidental contact in the lane, you just get more comfortable with swimming in close proximity.
And maybe, just maybe.
And yeah, maybe as a little strategic side effect, some persistent but gentle bumping or really close passes might just subtly encourage that oblivious swimmer that perhaps they're in the wrong speed lane.
A gentle nudge.
A gentle nudge. Plus, it's ideal for practicing race pace variations. You can sprint to catch the next person, use the draft for a brief recovery, then sprint again to the person after that. Real race simulation.
Love it. Okay, finally for this segment, just for variety and overall conditioning, tip 9 suggests medley swimming.
Yeah, this is partly about just breaking up the monotony, right? Preventing that mental burnout from constantly dealing with the congestion, switching strokes, maybe throwing in some backstroke or breaststroke.
It keeps it interesting.
Exactly. Makes the workout more enjoyable. But crucially, it also improves your overall body awareness and feel for the water in different ways. Take backstroke, for instance. It uses many of the same core rotation principles as freestyle. So actually working on your backstroke body roll can have a really positive knock-on effect on your freestyle timing and hip drive.
All right, we're heading into the home stretch, segment 4. And here we're dedicating the focus entirely to power generation, especially from the legs, and adding a bit of playful conditioning, making sure the legs don't get forgotten in all this technique work. Yeah, good point. Which brings us neatly to tip 10, simply kick. We know a huge chunk of swimming power comes from the legs, so this slower, crowded environment seems perfect for some focused kicking. Right?
Absolutely perfect. Don't neglect the kick. And the sources have a strong recommendation here. Leave the kickboard on the pool deck.
Ditch the kickboard. Why is that so important? I see people using them all the time for kick sets.
They do, but the board can encourage some bad habits. It often makes you lift your head too high, which can cause your hips to drop. And it can lead to unnecessary arching in the lower back to compensate.
Ah, okay. Creates a less streamlined position.
Exactly. By kicking without a board, you force your body to maintain that ideal horizontal streamlined position using only your core tension and proper head placement. It really helps ensure the kicking motion starts from the hips, where it should, not just from the knees.
Makes sense. And we can get creative with these non-board kick sets too.
Oh, definitely. Beyond just basic streamlined kicking on your front or back, the sources suggest great variations like head-led side kicking, where you're on your side, one arm extended, head looking down or to the side to breathe. That's great for rotation and breathing timing.
Okay.
Or arm-led side kicking, similar, but maybe leading with the bottom arm. And then for the really advanced folks, try a 360 streamlined kick rotation.
Ooh, spinning while kicking.
Yeah. You kick in streamline and slowly rotate your entire body 360 degrees. It's a supreme core workout, really tests your alignment, and ensures both sides of your body are equally strong in maintaining that stability.
That sounds incredibly challenging. Okay, and our final tip, tip 11. This one sounds almost like something you do at summer camp. Water floorball, using a floorball, or maybe a wiffle ball.
Haha, yeah, it does sound a bit like play, but it's actually resistance training cleverly disguised as fun. The source is just a few really neat ways to use it.
Okay, like what?
First, as a symmetry test. Try swimming one-arm freestyle, just using one arm, while lightly holding the ball in your non-pulling hand out front. Then switch hands. Does the pull feel the same on both sides? Is it just as strong?
Ah, so it highlights imbalances immediately.
For a lot of people, yes. It instantly exposes if one side has a weaker catch or pull-through. It's a great little diagnostic tool.
Clever. But the sources seem particularly keen on using the ball for sculling, right? Why is that instability from the holes in the ball so effective?
Right, this is where the genius lies, technically speaking, those holes. Because the water flows unevenly through them, it creates this erratic, unstable drag. And this forces the tiniest muscles deep in your shoulders, think rotator cuff, all those little stabilizers to fire like crazy.
You constantly adjust.
Constantly adjust, exactly. Your body has to react instantly to stabilize your hand and wrist against that unpredictable resistance. So you're building strength and, crucially, awareness in those tiny micro movements. Those are absolutely critical for preventing shoulder injuries down the line and for perfecting that hand pitch, that feel for the water we talked about with sculling earlier.
Wow. So it makes a standard sculling drill way more challenging and beneficial.
Way more. Plus, it's just kind of fun to mess around with the ball in the water.
Yeah.
Gets you thinking creatively.
Yeah.
So when you look back at all this, what really stands out, I think, is that profound cognitive shift we talked about at the start. We've taken this situation that normally causes deep frustration, the crowded pool lane, and we've systematically broken it down
Yeah.
and turned it into this complex, really structured, high-value training session, one that directly boosts your technique, your precision, your adaptability for races.
Yeah.
That crowded lane, it's not the problem anymore. It's actually become a resource.
And we've given everyone listening 11 really concrete strategies, things you can implement literally the next time you go to the pool. So the mission changes, doesn't it? Next time you jump into that busy lane, your goal isn't to just fume and get angry.
Yep.
It's to execute one of these drills, maybe the dive under, maybe some fist swimming. Guarantee your time isn't wasted. Guarantee that anger doesn't hijack your workout. Let those other swimmers be your training aids. Let that crowded lane truly become your playground.
And you will become a happier swimmer for it, and almost certainly a faster one, too.
Absolutely. Happier and faster. That's the promise.
And maybe here's a final thought to mull over. If you can actually train yourself to find advantage, to find mastery in a situation as inherently frustrating and chaotic as a packed, fast lane, adapting your whole plan on the fly like this, what other areas of your life, your professional life, your work, maybe just your daily habits, where else could you apply this playground mindset, this idea of turning obstacles, turning frustrations into creative training opportunities? That's maybe the bigger lesson here, something to think about until our next deep dive.
Thanks for tuning into the 360 Swim podcast. I'd love to know what you thought about how to tackle the crowded lane and get something more out of it than a headache. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and I'll catch you in the next one.